What's going on, hikers? In today's video, we're gonna do something brand new. I mean, it's been around for a long time, but I've never done one. And hopefully it's super fun and you enjoy it and we can maybe do some more in the future. It is a Q&A. So I posted on my community tab and I said, hey, ask me anything. So we're gonna see what did you ask me and what kind of answers can I come up with. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel. And yes, I'll probably get some comments. King of the court, baby. I may or may not have played a little basketball back in my day, and we may have won a tournament or two. All right, so let's get started. First question. Who is your most favorite person you have ever hiked with that has a name that rhymes with Glenn Flickmillan? What about Miyagi is chillin'? Miyagi, I loved your comment. That was hilarious, man. But I did love backpacking with Ben McMillan. I definitely suggest that you go check out his channel. He is the owner of Hilltop Packs. They make a lot of super cool things. I go on their website, check that out. Ben, I love hiking with you, man. I can't wait to do it again soon. Detradermis. Am I saying that right? Dearmas? I'll butcher all these, I promise you. It looks too cool to go in group hikes, especially when there's different levels of experience in the group. It's not easy to put together a group of busy adults for backpacking or family for that matter. Have you set any goals for hikes or group hikes this year? I haven't set any goals for group hikes necessarily. I know that I absolutely love hiking with other people, and hopefully after this whole craziness is over, I'll get to be able to go back to doing that. Solo is not super my thing. My goal is though to hike the Camino de Santiago with my wife in the next couple of years, and we'll see how that turns out. As for the goals, no, I don't think so, but I am wanting to get a group together. We had to postpone, we hadn't made an official announcement, but we do want to do a Kentucky YouTube meetup and get to see some subscribers there. So hopefully, like I said, once all the craziness is done, then we can definitely get together and just have a good time. Interpreter? I don't know. I can't do it, I don't know. Anyway, it says, I'm new to the hiking/camping community and I love history. I've been to some amazing historical sites that have an almost magical atmosphere. Of course, there's no camping permitted. I hope not. Permitted on these sites, but I've often thought about stealth camping just to get a more in-depth experience. That being said, I'm 100% not for breaking and entering the sites themselves. Only talking about camping in the surrounding woods, damaging or stealing anything, and of course leaving no trace. I understand this gets into certain risk and trespassing, etc. But as long as you slip in, slip out, no damage, no harm, no foul, etc. What are your thoughts on this and stealth camping in general? Always look forward to your videos. Thank you for all your work. Thumbs up, Mike. Mike, your name would have been a lot easier to say if your username was Mike, but no hate here. My opinion on stealth camping. I live really close to the Daniel Boone National Forest, and as long as you're 300 feet off of an established trail, you can camp anywhere you want. Now there are certain guidelines, like you don't want to camp under rock shelters, you don't want to build a fire too close to the edge of a cliff, you don't want to build a fire you don't want to build a fire under an overhang because that can heat up the rock and it can fall and hurt somebody. It also damages the ecosystem, but I'm fine with stealth camping. I would encourage, I think, more people maybe to stealth camp, and here's my view on that. Whenever the same spots are used all the time, it packs it down, and a lot of times the Forest Service has to come in different national and state parks and close those sites down. They have to rope them off to let the ecosystem pretty much rehabilitate. So established campsites are really cool, and like actual established campsites with fire rings and picnic tables, those are super cool, but I don't know if there's a perfect solution. And I'm kind of rambling. Hopefully that answers your question. Stealth camping's cool with me. I don't have a problem with it as long as you're following all the rules and you're practicing those leave no trace principles and not harming the environment, preserving it for others. To Laugh and Laugh says, how about a Walmart special backpacking trip? The gear should cost you less than $200 and it would be funny, or it'd be as funny as your gear swap video. The gear swap video with JK. That was pretty hilarious. I actually have thought about doing this, and I really actually do want to try like a Walmart budget gear, take a 3-day trip, and the only things I'm allowed to bring is the stuff I bought at Walmart. I don't want to spoil anything. I was going to say something else, but yeah, I'd be down for that. It'd be especially awesome if Walmart would sponsor it so I didn't have to buy all the gear, but yeah, I say let's do it. That's a good video idea. All right, we're going to go rapid fire on this. GT5228Z, shout out to you, by the way. You comment on all kinds of my stuff, and I always love reading your comments. You can see this giant long equation. For those of you who don't know, I'm a math teacher, and so I don't have an answer to that. But you did leave me a second post here, and it says, or just tell me if you think it's necessary to bear bag in a bear-free area to keep pests out of your food. I do think that's important, but I also know that I've had 2 food bags that have been chewed through by who knows what. I don't know if it's raccoons, rats, squirrels, something while I was sleeping, and I had hung those like bear bag, PCT style. Definitely a bear was not going to get to them. I do think it's important, but just know that your food's not invincible. Do you think rain pants are necessary? I guess it depends on the conditions. I don't love them, but they're cool in the wintertime. Any thoughts on mids versus shoes? I assume you're talking like trail runners versus like mid-level trail runners, which would come up your ankles a little bit. I don't love like the rubbing on my ankles, but I wear boots sometimes, you know, if I don't want my feet to get wet in the winter. But I prefer the trail runners. Not that there's anything wrong with either. Gore-Tex or no? Gore-Tex in the winter, yes for me. Maybe not for everybody. And then anytime else, no, typically not. Our Royale trip this year. I actually have some friends that have been dying to go there. Some that live around here in Kentucky and some that live near Isle Royale. But I would love to do that. We'll see how it turns out. How's the new hammock going? Any plans on reviewing the Pride of Kentucky? The hammock is interesting. And I know there's some other comments about hammocks, so I'm sure we'll get more into it. I would love to review it, but it's one of a kind. So if y'all want to see the review, awesome. You can't really buy one. So I don't know if you'd be into that. So comment below and tell me, is that something that you'd like to see? Are you experienced on map plus compass? Will be covering it on video. I assume you're asking like, how's my topography skills? Especially if I just had like, let's say you dropped me in the middle of the woods and you gave me a map and a compass. Would I die? I may be able to make it out. I don't know. I'm pretty good in the woods of Kentucky where I'm from because I was born and raised here. But I wouldn't say I'm especially good at terrain. Like terrain. What do you call it? I can't remember. Terrain association, I think. Is that what it's called? I'm not super good. I'm a little bit challenged when it comes to that. Have you ever been into foraging mushrooms? Do morel mushrooms exist in Kentucky? So the first question you asked, have I been foraging? No, I have been ginseng hunting, and I don't know what morel mushrooms are. Have you ever been lost while in the wilderness? Maybe you all enjoyed this like short little story. I love squirrel hunting. I think it's fun, and we eat the squirrel, so you know, there's a moral argument to that, but I won't get into it. And I did get off the trail one time while I was squirrel hunting. I was walking like a bike path, and you just walk along and you're quiet and you're looking for squirrels, you're listening for them, and I shot 3 squirrels. And they fall off the tree and they hit the ground. And then I walked over and looked for them, found 2, stumbled all around looking for the 3rd one, could not find it, and then had no idea where the bike path was. And so what I did was, instead of freak out, I had like this little backpack that I had some extra shotgun shells in, and I set it next to this giant tree that had fallen. And I made like a little radius around. I knew I hadn't walked too far, so I made like a little radius of maybe 20-ish yards, walking around this tree to see if I could find the bike path. And I left my backpack there, so I knew that that's where my central location was. If I went this way and I couldn't find it, I come back, try a different way. And after like 4 or 5 minutes walking around, going back to the tree, I found the bike path and walked my happy butt back with 2 squirrels in my cargo pants pocket. So that's about as lost as I've ever been. Outdoor Serenity, what's up, man? Outdoor Serenity says, how do you feel about solo backpacking trips and the scariest moment when out in the backcountry? Well, solo backpacking trips are cool, especially if you want to decompress, but I would rather go with friends. And as for the scariest moment, I would probably say whenever Bridget and I were in Big South Fork in Tennessee, we actually saw either one or the same bear twice. And then on a separate occasion, we saw a different bear in a different part of Big South Fork. They run deep in there. So that's probably the scariest moment. And this may be a video in itself later on of my bear experiences, but the short of it is like making eye contact with a bear and it just looking at you, and you're like hitting your trekking poles together and say, hey bear, trying to scare it off. It's pretty crazy. So that's probably my scariest moment. MK Ultra Hiking and Gear Review says, given the entire open world on planet Earth to hike, where would you want to go backpacking? Wow. I don't know if I could pick one place. I'd love to do some stuff in South America. I actually spent some time in Ecuador for about a month doing an internship, and I'm sure there was some great backpacking there, and you're so high in elevation, some amazing views. Definitely still want to do the Camino de Santiago. And then, I don't know, that's a really hard question. We'll just leave it at that. Great question. Missy Scallions, hello Missy. Do your students watch your videos? Have you inspired them to go hiking? I have had a few students that have told me, hey, after watching your videos, you have inspired me to go out. And I mean, I could probably count them on both hands, but it does make you feel good to see the kids. You're making a difference, not only in school, but also just in their life, helping them be active and giving them something to go out and do. Some of them do watch the videos and some of them make fun of me. I mean, what can you say? Miyagi on the trail, what's up, man? Miyagi says, you are about to get involved in a knockdown, drag-out fight with a bear on trail that won't back off. What song comes on as your soundtrack? Wow, what a question. Man, it has to be something that would get you pumped up. Maybe like Eye of the Tiger? I don't know. Who would win in the fight, the tiger or the bear? Does that answer the question? I'm gonna say Eye of the Tiger. Steve Z says, how do you keep your hands off your beard? Mine's about the same length and I'm constantly looking like Gandalf. Steve, to tell you the truth, I can't keep my hands off of it. I don't know, man. Try putting something greasy in it, and then every time you touch it, you're just like, oh, why is my hand so greasy? Oh yeah, that beard balm I used. I don't want this all over everything. Jason Outdoors says, now that you've tried hammocks, what do you like better, tent or hammock? Any plans to swap packs and go frameless? I love both. I don't know which one I like better yet. The hammock is super cool, especially having a tarp. If it's raining, you can sit in your hammock and still hang out. So that's a real win there. And then as for the plans to go frameless, I do plan on working with Thomas Baker, if he still wants to do this, working this summer on making me a backpack that's frameless that kind of fits my dimensions because I'm an odd size, I guess, and doing some frameless backpacking with my lighter warm weather gear. In the winter, I just can't. My gear's too heavy. Ooh, another question from Miyagi. He says, if you could write one new law that every backpacker had to obey while on trail, what law would you create? That's a really good question, Miyagi. I would say just to love one another. Because if you will do that, if you'll just like, if you love somebody, you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to do something that is going to invade on their experiences. So I would say just love one another. Go Adventure says, pack, stash, or trash. I give you 3 pieces of gear. Oh my gosh. You have to pack 1, stash 1, and trash 1. Pack would be the piece you can't hike without. Stash would be the piece you could go without but wouldn't trash. Stash in the closet. And trash would be the piece you'd throw in the garbage. Number 1, Neo Air X-Lite. Number 2, Osprey Atmos. Number 3, Ultra Lone Peaks. Man, that is a difficult question. I actually use all 3 of those pieces of gear on every hike I go on, or at least I have for a long time. I would say I have to have the Neo Air X-Lite at the moment to sleep in, unless I'm in the hammock, then I don't want it. I would probably stash the Ultra Lone Peaks because I know they work for me, even though I blew out a couple of pairs. I am in the market for new shoes though. And then lastly, I'll probably have to throw out the Osprey Atmos because there's a lot of backpacks that I would absolutely love to try. And I think that is it. So tell me what you think in the comments. Hopefully you got some good answers to your questions, and would you like to see more of these videos? Let's start a conversation down there. If you've enjoyed, give me one of these, subscribe to the channel, and kick the notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you in the next video.